Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be making 10 pounds of soap, meaning 2 5-pound molds for brambleberry, and I'm using here for colorant doubloon gold mica and chestnut brown mica from You Make It Up, and also titanium dioxide pre-mixed with warm water. And I'm using water-soluble titanium dioxide because I just think it's better for my use. And then for fragrance I'm using Kentucky bourbon from brambleberry that I absolutely love, and it's very popular as well. So we're gonna be starting by mixing the lye water solution that you can see here to the oils that have been weighed out and combined in this bucket here. I will leave a link down in the description box because it's a very nice container that I absolutely love. So I just put the lye water solution slowly into the oils to avoid splashes. And to the lye water solution I added sodium lactate because I find that it makes the unmolding easier, so it cuts down on the time you need to wait to unmold the soap, and it gives a little shine to the soap as well. So I personally always use sodium lactate unless you have some recipe like a high amount of coconut oil soap or something like that. So I'm going to add the stick blender as you can see here, and I'm blending to a light trace, you can say. And of course, if you have a bigger batch, it will take a little longer to get everything combined. I'm using a stick blender from Bosch. It's a German company. It's a stick blender that works just very well. Never had any problems with it, and I have it since a couple of years, and it lasted ever since. So I'm just gonna continue stick blend until you can see that the batter gets like a uniform color, so you cannot see any oil, let's say, floating around. If you are interested, the recipe that I'm using is down in the description box below, and if you are someone that prefers not to use palm oil, then you can swap it out for shea butter, for example. I tried this out and it was working very well. Make sure you run the recipe through a lye calculator when you do that, and you should always do that even if you resize your batch, etc. So now I take these two pitchers here because I need to split the batter up to make two accent colors, the colors that you saw before. And I'm going to have every container colored differently. And then the main part is of course the white one, which is in the big container. So here is the chestnut brown mica, and here is the doubloon gold mica. I absolutely love both colors. You can really make a lot of different shades with it if you add some titanium dioxide, for example, and you make a lighter color and so forth. It can be a nice gold color or more like a dark kind of gold. So here we go with the lightest color, titanium dioxide. I always start with a lighter color because then you don't need to clean your stick blender. It's just a very practical use. I'm a very practical person, not to say lazy. First make sure that everything is really well incorporated, the titanium dioxide, before we move on to the next two accent colors. Now we are going to mix up the colors. First the doubloon gold mica. And I just want to make sure that I get all the colors also from the bottom and from the sides of the container. That's usually where they sometimes get stuck. And now the chestnut brown mica. You can see it's clearly starting to thicken up, so I don't want to lose too much time. And now for the fragrance oil, I measured it out beforehand. I always like to have everything ready so you don't have to stress once you really have to speed up with making your soap. And for fragrance oil, I'm just stirring it, mixing it by hand. There is, for me, no need to stick blend it. Just making sure that it's really well combined and good incorporated, and then that's good enough, unless, of course, you want to make get a really thick consistency if you want to pipe something. As you can see here, for example, you need to pipe, then you want to have a real nice thick consistency. By the way, if you're interested to know how you can pipe soap, then I have some videos that I will also leave here on the right hand corner. Different situations and tips that you can use, piping tips, and just useful things that will help you get a nice piping. So here you can see I'm just scraping the soap around the walls and at the bottom, just to make sure that there is no like white soap remaining there, or uncolored soap, let's say. And then I'm grabbing my brambleberry 5-pound molds. I absolutely love these molds here. They have a really nice silicone liner inside that is very sturdy. I think it makes the unmolding so easy. I will leave you here an example how it unmolds. It has a slide bottom where it's so easy to get the soap out. I recommend this really to every soap maker. So then I'm going in with the first accent color here. I'm trying to put it as high as I can to really penetrate the first layer of the soap, or the first color. And it doesn't need to be an exact pour, because anyways we're gonna use a chopstick later on to make a swirl. So I'm just trying to get the majority of the brown in as well. And then a little bit of this light brown or dark gold on top. So now I'm going in with the back of a spoon, a long spoon that I'm using, and I just circle one time. You can of course also go through twice and do like a double swirl. Or for example, if you pour the colors just in one line, then you get a little something like this here that I'm using in my orchid, black orchid soap. That's okay too, of course. I mean, there are tons of different things that you can do. That's why I think soap making is a great thing, because you can have so many variations. Okay, so this is now for the decoration of the top. I want to have the majority of the top white, and then add the accent colors on top of it. And this creamy color here was done on purpose. I didn't want to have a complete white, but like a more buttery kind of color that would fit well to the bourbon and tobacco soap. That's the name of this soap here. And then for texturing the top, there are also so many different ways that you could do. You could also pipe the top, but this is more a man soap, so it doesn't really fit. But I will show some examples here, some ideas. And of course the videos you will find also on my channel if you're interested to see. And then I just like to sprinkle a little bit the colors everywhere around. And then I take a bigger chopstick, not the very fine ones, but a little bit thicker one. You can also take at the back of the spoon again. And then the swirl would be a little bit thicker, that's okay too. And then I'm just going and I do kind of a figure 8. And I think that completes the look as well. I mean, you could also leave it as is. Whatever you do on the top, just bear in mind that once the soap is cut, you will just see a slice and not the entire design. So this is how it looks on close. I think it's pretty cool. And I always repeat this because I think it's really important. I leave my dishes overnight and then it becomes soap, and then it's really, really easy to get it clean, as opposed to trying to remove the soap, the fresh soap from the buckets and so forth, which is really painful. So now it's the next day. This mold is very easy to use. You just remove the bottom, then you remove the frame, the silicone. On molds, so easy, and you can see the airlock breaking in the back. And if you don't see that happening, if you see that the soap is still sticky, then just leave it. Leave it 1 more day, 2 more days, doesn't matter. You just need to be patient, because it's not worth to ruin the soap just because you are impatient. That's the second loaf. Again, it's perfect. It unmolds perfectly. So we're just gonna go ahead and prepare the soap for the cut. Before I cut the soap loaves, I just take this correction tool here that I have from Brambleberry, and I run it across the edges of the soap, so I don't need to do it on every soap slice singularly. So that's also time saver. You just do it like 4 times versus I don't know how many times on every soap bar, and that's good. It's also a tool that I use often to trim the soap instead of using a potato peeler, as you can see here. And then with the soap cutter, like I'm sure you have seen already what a soap cutter is. It's basically guitar strings, and then you push it through the soap like so, and then you have a really nice cut, like a cheese or something. And here you can see the swirl inside of the soap. It's always nice to see what comes out, because you never know. Every soap is different. And before I put in the next loaf part, I just clean the strings real quick with kitchen paper, just to be sure that I don't drag soap through the new soap, let's say. That's a very straightforward process here. Just clean again. Goes really fast. And of course you have also soap cutter, like you can cut bigger loaves, bigger parts in it. And this one here particularly, I got it from a soap loaf cutter maker from Germany, and you can choose what size you want and also the width of your soap. Like let's say you want to have big chunks, like Karen, for example, she has like really thick soap slices, so you can choose what width you want to have. Or the other possibility is to have like a single wire cutter that is really practical, and I also want to get one in the near future, because then you can control better. Let's say you have some embeds and you don't want to cut through the embed. Sometimes it's easier with a single wire cutter. So now here is the stamping of the soap. This is like very easy. I have a soap stamp maker, and I had my logo done on an acrylic stamp. You take the rubber mallet, you give it a light tap. If you're interested to see how this is done, I have a video on how to stamp soap, and I will leave it in the upper right corner here. If you're interested to see. And then I'm just going ahead and I do all the stamping. Typically I do the stamping right after cutting, or depending on how firm or how soft your soap is, 1 to 2 hours later. And then of course, if you have a high amount of liquid oil soap recipes where the soap is really soft, maybe you want to wait a couple of days. So here is how it looks. I think it turned out really pretty. And then of course you let it cure for 4 to 6 weeks, and of course the longer the better. Everybody knows soap gets better with time, like wine. So you want to let it sit as much as you can, and then you are ready to package the soap and label it. If you're interested to see some possibilities how you can do that, I will leave here also a link. Here is the finished batch, and I really hope you enjoyed this video here. I hope to see you very soon around for another one, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye bye.